Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. The Urban Development Ministry has proposed a memorial in honor of former Prime Minister Narasimha Rao. But is this genuine recognition of his legacy and achievement a political move to embarrass Congress and win support in Telangana? And beyond that, what is the legacy of the former Prime Minister and does it deserve recognition? Those are the questions we shall answer in part 2. But first, you can't have missed the sexist and racist comments made by the Minister of State for Small and Medium Enterprises, Giriaj Singh. They're all over your television screen today. But this is not the first time politicians have spoken so offensively. And the truth is, Congress is often as guilty as the BJP. So tonight we ask, why do politicians get away with such abominable comments? And could it be because they reflect a viewpoint many Indians share? That's our first discussion tonight. And joining me now to discuss Giriaj Singh and all the other politicians who have spoken in the same way is BJP's former Chief Ministerial candidate for Delhi, Kiran Bedi, Congress spokesperson Ami-Ben Yagnik, the political editor of the Business Standard, Aditi Phadnis, and the senior editor of India Today, Jyoti Malhotra. Mrs. Bedi, today Giriaj Singh, the Minister of State for Small and Medium Enterprises, said, and I'm quoting, "If Rajiv Gandhi would have married a Nigerian lady rather than a white-skinned girl, would the Congress party have accepted her leadership?" That's both a horribly color-conscious remark and one that's potentially probably racist as well. As a fellow member of the BJP, how do you respond to your party colleague speaking in this way?
Absolutely an irresponsible statement, and I think he needs to be censured. He needs a censure, but the point is, how do you censure him? What are the rules? There are one set of rules for public servants who would have been censured or suspended or departmentally dealt with. But where are the public service rules similarly for politicians in government who are also public servants? I think there's a current very big vacuum which needs to be addressed. They got privileges inside the house so they can throw chairs around, and outside there are no public service rules. So it's accountability only to the voters, and voters have no say after once they've elected them in. They've got to tolerate them next 5 years. So I think there's a very big vacuum which needs to be addressed.
Who should do the censoring and who so far has failed to censor? Is there an individual you would choose to name?
I think it's both political party and the leadership itself, because the onus is on the political party leadership and it's also on the leadership of the government. So I think both can take stock of this and see whether such a man should be shown a red card, because I think he's already used a yellow card.
This is very interesting. You say the leadership of the party as well as the leadership of the government. That means both Amit Shah and Mr. Modi should speak out and publicly censor Giriaj Singh. Have I understood you correctly?
May not speak out. Karan may not speak out. But how do they deal with it? Because how they want to deal with it is their prerogative. Whether they want to deal it within in-house or whether they want to say, I think that we should leave it to them. But I think this gentleman needs to be shown a red card.
Ami-Ben Yagnik, the truth is that Congress also has its own fair share of people who have said sexist and clearly offensive and objectionable things. For instance, Pranab Mukherjee's son Abhijit Mukherjee, now an MP, has spoken of dented, painted women protesters. Sanjay Nirupam once dismissed Smriti Irani as a woman who simply shook her hips on TV. Digvijay Singh compared Arvind Kejriwal to Rakhi Sawant. Sushil Kumar Shinde, in a Rajya Sabha debate about violence in Assam, said to Jaya Bachchan, "Take this seriously, it's not a filmy matter." Would you accept that when it comes to people who make offensive sexist remarks, Congress isn't any better than BJP?
Well, Karanji, there have been past incidents. They have been reprimanded at the highest level. Some kind of internal disciplinary action also has been taken, warnings have been given. But today we are on a point that here is a government, during elections it said, "Bahut hua nari parvar, ab ki baar Modi sarkar." Now this was their election campaign slogan. And when you find minister after minister who goes on speaking and giving derogatory remarks about women and no action is being taken, where are the leaders?
Ami-Ben ji, I agree with the point you're making against the BJP, but what I want to point out is that when you claim disciplinary action was taken, the leadership spoke to the congressman I named who said sexist and offensive things. If it happened behind closed doors, it happened privately and secretly, it never happened publicly. I have to accept your word it happened. I have no proof it's happened. I'm just pointing it out.
No, you're right, Karanji, but they were definitely reprimanded and they were told not to, told to follow a code of conduct. But here is a example where you see that flagrantly he is speaking whatever comes to his mind, says a defensive line that it was off the record, but then it shows the true picture of the BJP.
Except
Today, where is the leader who said that we should not be speaking like this?
Just as you claim people in your leadership reprimanded congressmen who urged, sources are today saying, and I underline it is sources, that Amit Shah and Arun Jaitley have in no uncertain terms spoken to Giriaj Singh, which is why he expressed regret. But the real problem, Aditi Fadnis, is it's not just Giriaj Singh. Today, unfortunately, according to PTI, although he himself denies it, but PTI is a very reputable agency, the Goa Chief Minister, Lakshmikant Parsekar, has advised protesting nuns not to stage hunger strikes in the sun because it will turn them dark and that will affect their marital prospects. Now, this is not an ordinary MP. This is the Chief Minister of the state. It's even worse in his case, isn't it?
Well, you know, there was a phase when this was taken extremely seriously, to the extent that I remember that just after the emergency, an Information and Broadcasting Secretary decided that there would be no skin whitening creams permitted to be marketed in India, because, I mean, for obvious reasons. It's a society, it's something that you have to live with. An investment banker from Africa who came here to invest money asked me in a very guarded way whether there was racism, and whether, like in his country here too, the white skin was some kind of a benchmark of everything that is beautiful.
And the sad and truthful answer is it is, because Jyoti Malhotra, we are horrified when politicians and chief ministers speak in this way. But we take it in our stride when our own fellow citizens in drawing rooms, in bars, in cinema halls make the same sort of comment. And the truth is, given that our politicians come from the same stock as us, they reflect the same views and the same values, is it not hypocritical that we criticize politicians, but we're silent when our own fellow countrymen in our drawing rooms and in our homes make exactly identical remarks? We don't say anything about them, we take that in our stride and smile it away.
You're absolutely right, Karan, and Aditi talked about this sort of deeply racist people that we are, apart from being sexist and misogynistic. But if you just look at our so-called role models like Shah Rukh Khan, for example, who uses Fair and Lovely whitening cream for men. I mean, what is that all about? Are we saying then that the brown color that we have inherited or the dark colors that Indians are, is that there's something wrong with that? Why would a man like Shah Rukh Khan, who's a role model for all of India and abroad and for vast parts of the world, advertise and push a whitening cream like that?
The sad truth is he thinks there's nothing morally wrong in advertising and pushing such a cream.
So I think Giriaj Singh must be castigated, firstly because, listen, the thing is that he is a politician. He has been elected by many people. He can say what he wants within the confines of his drawing room. But when he says it in a public space, I take huge objection to that. And I think that the BJP should castigate him, should reprimand him, but I think they should go further, just as the Congress party. Look at Sharad Yadav. If you remember the remarks that he made in Parliament several years ago about Parkati Mahilayen and that they must follow a certain code of conduct. I think this is all pretty objectionable, and leaders must take action against them.
Amiben Yagnik, I'm not defending Giriaj Singh or Lakshmikant Parsekar. But unfortunately, neither you nor I can deny that Indians, A, have a huge color prejudice problem, and B, beyond that, we have a terrible problem of prejudice towards African people, whilst we venerate the white skin. And this may be more true of North Indians and perhaps Punjabis in particular, but it is true of our country by and large. Our marriage ads prove this. Somnath Bharati's behavior when he was law minister of all things proves it. So at the end of the day, these two gentlemen, Parsekar and Giriaj Singh, were simply behaving in the despicable way many Indians, probably most Indians, often do. They are behaving like us. That's the sad part of it.
Yes, Karanji, I think this is a mindset and a mentality problem. We are unable to come out of this racist mind frame, despite the constitution saying that there should not be any practical inequality where race is concerned or caste is concerned. But yet, people go on making these unconstitutional remarks because the mindset has not changed. Whether somebody makes it within the confines of a drawing room or whether the person makes it in public, it definitely shows what his mindset is or his thought process is or what he thinks of the society in general or for women in general. So I think there needs to be a great change. There requires to be a great change in this mindset, and so that not only politicians but public servants or wherever you go, there is this problem prevailing everywhere, and it has to start from the schools and the upbringing that, well, there is equality. You are not supposed to make these kind of derogatory comments for another individual, especially against women.
Very quickly, would you say Indians are racist?
Well, we are projecting the Indian society by making these comments day in and day out, whether from high podiums or even as a common man. We are trying to show to the world, or we are giving an impression that we do believe in racism and we can make remarks against racism and get away with it, despite there being laws and constitution in the country.
Kiran Bedi, I want to put exactly the same question to you. I am not talking just about Lakshmikant Parsekar and Giriaj Singh. I'm not talking about politicians, I'm talking about us, the people. Are we racist? Are we color conscious to a point where we venerate white and don't like black?
Karan, though, when it comes to marriage in India, it is about good-looking woman and a well-placed man. It's not a well-placed woman and a handsome man. It's about a good-looking woman and a well-placed man, however he looks, whatever his complexion. But when it comes to good-looking woman has to have some lovely long hair and fair complexion. That's the mindset, that's the bias, that's the prejudice. Look at the matrimonials. It's always about a good-looking woman. She may have a career, she may not have. That's secondary. Unless this concept changes, unless this prejudice and bias changes, I think India will take 2 more generations. 2 more generations before it comes about into a balance to say well-placed, well-equipped, well-career woman and a well-groomed man. I think unless that changes, you will have women not playing games. Because when you play games, you get tanned. And when you get tanned, you are not fair.
Precisely. That's Lakshmikant Parsekar. That's Lakshmikant Parsekar. You could be almost quoting him, except that I know you don't intend to be. Let me put it like this now, coming right back to Giriaj Singh. Unfortunately, this is not the first time he's put both feet squarely in his mouth. During the April campaign for the general elections, he said that those who wanted to stop Narendra Modi should go to Pakistan. There was no place for them in India. Shortly after victory, he said all terrorists come from one community, trying to suggest that all terrorists are Muslims. This man is a serial offender, or am I exaggerating?
Well, he believes in the kind of politics that he thinks people throw chavannis, people clap. It's a kind of politics that some people in the BJP really like following. There are people like that in the Congress also, but I'm not sure if there are that many in the Congress. But certainly in BJP, there are people who believe in the lowest common denominator
So do you agree he's a serial offender?
So of course he is. There's no doubt about it.
Jyoti Malhotra, Giriaj Singh has expressed regret, but he hasn't apologized. He stopped at the word khed and didn't go further. And as far as I can tell, regardless of what sources are saying, in public, the BJP has refused to tick him off or to tick off Lakshmikant Parsekar. In fact, on another channel, Shahnawaz Hussain, when asked, twice said he couldn't comment because he hadn't heard the actual comment made by Giriaj Singh. Now, you don't have to hear that comment. It's on TV. It's there all the time. All of us have heard it. But Shahnawaz refused to pass any comment on that comment. Clearly, the BJP is embarrassed, but it's silent. Is silence acceptable in these circumstances?
I don't think the BJP is that embarrassed. I think it doesn't believe that this is such a serious issue or is such a big deal. Amit Shah, the BJP president, has made a statement evidently where he said that he's told Giriaj Singh not to make these comments anymore, that he must restrain himself. But I don't think...
He made that comment today?
I believe so. There is something on Twitter where he has, where Amit Shah is being quoted as being
on
said.
Twitter possibly, but it's not on any TV screen at the moment.
Well, the fact is that...
And it's not on PTI. And it's not on any newspaper website. So Twitter is hardly the effective way of doing it.
I think whether he tells Giriaj Singh to restrain himself is not the point. I think the point is that this man is a public figure. He represents the government of India. He represents you and me. So for him to make a statement like that, I think he must be ticked off not only by the BJP president, but by the Prime Minister. So my question is, why is Prime Minister Narendra Modi silent? After all, during his Independence Day speech last year, when he spoke about the girl child and how the people of India, he talked about these things very openly, and he was very, very well received by all of us. The speech that he made
So his silence today raises questions.
I think it raises questions, and he must clarify that he is not on Giriaj Singh's side, and he must reprimand him publicly.
Kiran Bedi, I'll come to Amiben in a moment's time. Kiran Bedi, not only has Giriaj Singh embarrassed the BJP, not only has he damaged the reputation and standing of the BJP, but he's also probably spoilt whatever prospects the BJP had of a political understanding with Congress during the second and difficult part of the budget session, which starts in just about 20 days' time. And most importantly, he's infuriated Nigeria's acting High Commissioner, who publicly has said on television that these comments are unacceptable. In the circumstances, do you think a man who has committed 3 previous offences should actually be dropped from cabinet?
I think that should be the internal matter within the party and the government. So I don't think I would be in a position to suggest what they should do. But I think when I raised my hand to say I want to intervene, is that I was on another channel before yours, where Sambit Patra, the official spokesman of the BJP, has refused to defend the statement and said the party view is that this is not acceptable. So I've had this just 10 minutes before, the BJP spokesman not supporting this and in a way condemning it.
Can I just point one thing out? Is there any way a spokesman could have defended it? I mean, surely that is the only response possible from a spokesman. How you turn around and say that Giriaj Singh said the right thing? You probably end up with Nigeria so angry, the High Commissioner would pack his bags and leave the country.
And India, Nigeria...
No, what I heard Sambit Patra clearly say, that this was indefensible. Sorry, I'm not here to defend it. And it has embarrassed. So that's exactly what I said. I thought since you don't have a BJP spokesman, I'm not a spokesman. I'm a member of the party, but I'm not an official spokesman.
You're more important than a spokesman. You were the candidate for chief ministership in Delhi. You're far more important than a spokesman.
No, I'm speaking in my personal capacity. No, Karan, I'm speaking in my personal capacity, and I certainly stand offended as a woman, as an individual, as an Indian, and certainly disgusted with this kind of politics and such politics.
Can I ask you one more question before I go to Amiben? Can I ask you one more question? You know, the BJP government has been there almost a year, but there have been a spate of stupid comments made by a range of ministers, sadly, on a whole range of subjects, not just Giriaj Singh. There's General V.K. Singh, there's Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti, there's Sushma Swaraj, there's Kalraj Mishra, and then of course there are MPs like Shakshi Maharaj and Yogi Adityanath. Is there a problem in the BJP? So many people in such a short limited space of time making so many silly comments on such a wide range of subjects.
Karan, I'm not an insider, but I'm like a reader of newspapers and watching television. All I've seen time to time is that they've been taking internal audits, they've been issuing internal advisories. That's coming from your newspapers. They've been cautioning people. That's exactly what I'm saying. I think the BJP leadership, the party, could take the lead as a political, or the Election Commission, or a PIL from Supreme Court, that I think we need to frame rules on lines with the civil servants. Just as public servants in government have rules, so should politicians in government have certain binding rules of censures, of warnings, the red card and the yellow card. I think it's time for it.
You may well be right. I've spent a lot of time saying that the Prime Minister needs to speak out, the party leadership in the case of the BJP needs to speak out. But the truth is, and I'm coming back to this point, when Sushil Kumar Shinde said stupid things to Jaya Bachchan in a Rajya Sabha debate, when Shri Prakash Jaiswal said stupid things as coal minister, Sonia Gandhi was silent, Manmohan Singh was silent. You see, this sword cuts both ways. We say the BJP leadership and the PM should speak out today, but Sonia didn't, Manmohan Singh didn't 2 days or 3 days or last time. You see, the same low standards, the same hypocrisy vitiates both parties.
No, Karanji, you are right that it is there in all the parties. The politicians make all kinds of statements. But I tell you here as a spokesperson of the Congress party, and I firmly follow this, that there are actions taken and there is reprimandation at the highest level. But today I am saying this because the Prime Minister has promised the women of this country safety. The Prime Minister has then said that he cares for the women of this country. The women have been a vote bank for him. He's come to power, and today the BJP leaders and the BJP union ministers are showing the true ideology and culture of BJP. Then why is the Prime Minister not sacking them? Why is the Prime Minister silent?
Wouldn't that same question apply to Sonia Gandhi and Manmohan Singh when Sushil Kumar Shinde and Jaiswal spoke out? The same questions could have been asked 10 months ago of Sonia and Manmohan Singh. The point I'm making, and I'll put it to you, is there any sense in which Congress can claim to be better than BJP when it comes to misogyny, when it comes to offensive sexist remarks, when it comes to racist comments?
Well, the Congress has been in power for 10 years. The number of times these kind of remarks have been made publicly by its ministers or by its members have not been that many, to be completely honest.
You think and suggesting that there's a cascade of such remarks by BJP people?
That doesn't mean that they don't think like that. I'm not saying for a minute that they don't think like that.
They're more discreet.
But they have not articulated it publicly. Whereas the BJP is, what you see is what you get.
In a situation like this, is it a saving grace that at least the man or the woman concerned has the discretion to be quiet in public, regardless of what they feel and do behind closed doors? Is that a saving quality, or is that hypocrisy?
No, I think I'm not really interested in what Giriaj Singh thinks about Nigeria or any other country in the world.
Just don't say it publicly.
Absolutely. You're a public figure. I think you have a responsibility not only to yourself, but to your constituency, but to your country, especially now that he's a minister in the Modi government. So I think, and also look at what's happening, and I'm wondering why he picked on poor Nigeria. And
I think the word just came out of his mouth. I don't think it was pre-planned and thought out.
Well, Somnath Bharti, did the same thing in Delhi last year. So there is something about Indians and Africa, or sort of black skins. I think that's what it is that we're so deeply racist that Nigeria is something that, we've just read in the papers.
Most Indians in the north call Africans Habshis. It's a terrible term, but that's
Absolutely.
what they call them.
And not only Africans, I think we call our own compatriots, our own citizens in the south, we call them names. We call
So would you then
we call
say,
the northeast people in the northeast.
The last question. Would you therefore agree with the question I put to both Ami Ben and to Kiran Bedi? Are we as a people racist?
We are deeply racist, and I think we have huge prejudices. But I think that we have to start somewhere. And where do we start? I think the leadership has to start with public figures.
That honest comment from you is the point on which I want to end this particular discussion. We have to face up to the fact that we are probably deeply racist people, and we only object to racism when we are the victims of it in the West. But when we are the perpetrators of it, we find a million excuses, even to the point of not apologizing. My thanks to both of you for coming to studio. My thanks also to Ami Bediagnik and Kiran Bedi for joining me. Time for a break. But then, does the BJP truly intend to honor Narasimha Rao, or is it simply playing politics and cleverly embarrassing the Congress party in the bargain?